Obviously, we live in an age of rapid technological advancement.
I think there's a lot of potential for various technologies to help quality of life.
But technology as a whole is not the answer. It's what we do with it. We have, for the past 2 decades, seen an increasing number of opioid overdose deaths. They have contributed so substantially to the loss of life that it has decreased the average life expectancy in the United States. We haven't had any progress for a long time, actually, other than medications in the area of opioid addiction recovery and addictive behaviors in general. The use of technologies can help to not only measure and monitor if an intervention is working, but also give the individual the tools to respond to their own needs. One of the key projects that we're in the midst of running at Syracuse University is using neurophysiological indicators to monitor and measure stress in people who have opioid use disorders. We're trying to track and identify what are the predictors of stress that can lead to a risk for relapse.
As a public health grad student, I worked with Dr. Desseberg and SECO. It was really cool to see how technology can really help promote better well-being as well as a better understanding of people's bodies.
So we build an algorithm to help to understand and identify what are the physiological predictors of stress. The individual, when they're going about their life on a day-to-day basis and are experiencing challenges, cravings, stress, some of these technologies can help to alert them to that, and then they can be aware of how to and when to engage in certain evidence-based strategies to de-escalate those cravings.
Communication is at the core of everything that we do in life. So when you have a barrier with communication, it can really impact your everyday living.
Kids who are in speech therapy, they might be teased or bullied. Speech difficulties also relate to difficulties in reading and spelling. So it is pretty important that we try to provide intervention as early as possible and as effectively as possible. Where technology really comes into play has been with older kids who need a new or different or better way of trying to figure out how to improve their speech when some of the traditional methods of speech therapy haven't worked. In my lab, one of the main things that we focus on are working with children who have persisting speech problems. We try to use technologies to see if we can accelerate their learning.
Everyone responds differently, so the more options we have, the more people we can help.
Ultrasound as a way to provide images of the tongue.
You can see the front of my tongue.
Visual acoustic feedback is a way to transfer the acoustic signal into a graph that children can understand. And we also use artificial intelligence systems to provide kids feedback on their speech. In our clinical trials, some children respond very well to technologically supported interventions.
Technology has been part of their life since they were born.
So we've seen kids improve their speech in a relatively short period of time.
Whether it's due to aging, illness, an accident, we all experience some forms of disability. And so it's a lot more universal than we tend to think about it at first glance. Oftentimes, technologies that are designed with specialized needs in mind really do look like they were designed with specialized needs in mind. And so often then people who would benefit from using these technologies don't want to use the technology. It marks them as somebody who's different. And so the more that things can be built into the technologies that we all use, I think it's much less likely that an individual will stand out for using something or needing to use a specialized technology. So my research is at the intersection of disability and technology. So I'm really interested in how technology can work for people with disability and also how disabled folks can be involved in the development of technology. A recent project that I did was around the use of mobile devices for building community for folks with intellectual disability.
Me and Alan wrote a paper on how we use technology. He asked me questions, and how I answer the questions, I would speak into my phone, and then I would send him the answers.
A lot of times folks with disabilities aren't designed for, aren't included in these types of projects. I think it's really important to be designing and developing technologies with folks, not just for people with disabilities.
If I didn't have a way to talk or use technology, I would just have to wait for people to help me. And I like having my independence. People with disabilities should be able to have a voice.
It's really exciting to be able to collaborate with folks across campus who are maybe in engineering or in public health, and we're able to bring together different pieces to talk about some of these complex issues.
The students get to see some of the development of technologies as they are arising.
New and innovative ideas and questions that they may have help to improve really the product that comes out the other end.
Being able to participate in research really allowed me to understand how it's done, critique other people's research, and learn how to take that research and apply it in action.
Some of the science that we're doing is starting to make its way into clinical practice, and people at a national level are picking up on some of the approaches that we're developing here at Syracuse University.
It can be sometimes exhausting and difficult work, but you really see that you're making an impact and a difference in the lives of people that makes it all worthwhile.